So gather, friends, and let me tell you a creepy-ass story from the depths of Florida. What the fuck is up, Internet? Welcome to the channel, and welcome to this episode of the creepiest place in your state. This is a series where I dig out the old book of scary shit and read haunting tales that send chills down the spines of the locals in every state. This is the legend of the St. Augustine Lighthouse. The old lighthouse still stands against the ravages of time, but beware, for it's not just a beacon for sailors, it's also a beacon for spirits. 'Cause every seaside town needs a drafty, haunted fixer-upper. The St. Augustine Lighthouse was completed in 1874, and from the day its light first pierced the darkness, it's been more than just a guide for ships. It's been a home for those who never found peace in death. They say the ghosts of former keepers and their families still linger, unable to leave the place where tragedy struck. 'Cause nothing says rest in peace like getting stuck doing the same job for all of eternity. But the most famous of these restless spirits are the Petit sisters, Eliza and Mary, and a young African-American girl whose name has been lost to time. The story goes back to the summer of 1873, when the lighthouse was still under construction. Hezekiah Patay, the superintendent of lighthouse construction, had moved his family from Maine to oversee the project. His children, Mary, Eliza, Edward, and little Carrie, turned the construction site into their personal playground. Because health and safety regulations were just a suggestion back in the day. The children's favorite game involved a railway cart that transported supplies from dock ships to the lighthouse site. The cart became their makeshift roller coaster, racing down the tracks to the water's edge. Only a single wooden board at the end of the rails kept them from plunging into the sea. Who needs Six Flags when you have Certain Death, the ride, right at home? But on a hot July afternoon, the board was missing. Mary, Eliza, little Carrie, and their friend climbed aboard the cart, giggling as they set off on their familiar ride. But this time, something went wrong. The cart gained speed faster than ever before, and with nothing to stop it, it careened off the tracks and into the water. Dan Sessions, a young worker who saw it all happen, sprinted to the scene. He wrenched the cart from the water with all of his might, but it was too late. Only Carrie, the youngest, survived. What's childhood without a little high-speed disaster to make things interesting? In the years that followed, eerie occurrences plagued the lighthouse. It's said that the laughter of young girls echoed from the top of the tower on windless nights. Eliza has been spotted wandering the grounds in the blue dress she wore the day she died. And Mary's voice sometimes calls out to those brave enough to listen. If you ever visit, the Dark of the Moon tour will take you inside the tower and the keeper's house at night, where the spirits of the lighthouse may play their games with you. Why enjoy a peaceful night at home when you can pay to get spooked by some sassy-ass ghost kids instead? There's a story about a relief keeper in the 1950s who heard footsteps echoing above him. When he climbed the stairs to investigate, he found nothing but empty halls. James Pippin, the last keeper to live at the station, moved out of the grand house, swearing it was haunted. "I won't spend another night in that place," he said. When the lighthouse was automated in 1955, keepers were no longer needed, and the house stood empty, save for the restless spirits who refused to leave. But maybe the real horror was having to climb those long-ass stairs every time you heard something creak. A leather worker rented the house in the 1960s. One night he woke to find a little girl standing by his bed. He blinked and she was gone. In 1970, the house caught fire under mysterious circumstances, and only the basement survived. Volunteers who worked to restore the lighthouse reported strange encounters, especially in the basement, where it's said that children still like to play. If the ghosts don't spook you, the fire hazards and the creepy-ass basement definitely will. Many visitors have felt the tug of a ghostly game of hide-and-seek. One night, a lighthouse staff member was closing up. As he made his way down the dark staircase, he heard the unmistakable sound of giggling, first above him, then below. Each time he checked, the stairs were empty. Was it just a wind, or were the Petit sisters teasing him? I wonder if they tell new hires that part of closing up is the possibility of getting pranked by kids who've been dead for over a century. On another tour, a guest felt a tug on her shoe and looked down to find her laces tied to the staircase. Was it a prank from a fellow visitor or a trick from beyond? The Dark of the Moon tour often draws those seeking a brush with the supernatural, and many leave with stories of their own. Forget ghost hunters, what we really need here is ghost babysitters to give these little brats an ass whooping. One night, a guest brought an EMF meter, a device used to detect the energy of spirits, down to the basement. She called out, asking the girls if they wanted to play hide and seek, and the meter spiked wildly. She wandered the basement following the energy until it led her to the spiral staircase. She called out again, and the meter surged. Minutes later, it spiked again near the children's old play table. Just then, other guests entered the basement, and the energy vanished. Isn't it just like ghosts, to save their energy up for the most dramatic moments? The Petit sisters sometimes take the form of full apparitions. A woman walking the trails by the lighthouse spotted a girl in Victorian clothing sitting quietly on a bench, reading. She turned to ask the girl a question, but when she looked back, the girl had disappeared. Another time, a guest on a tour complimented a woman on her well-behaved daughter, only to be met with confusion. The woman had no daughter with her. The child, it seemed, was a spirit tagging along. Sounds like the afterlife is just all about blending in, then vanishing like fucking Batman once you get spotted. So, if you find yourself at the St. Augustine Lighthouse on a moonless night, and you hear faint laughter or feel the tug of a little hand on your shoelace, remember the Petit sisters. Maybe they're just looking for someone to join them in their eternal game of hide and seek. Are you ready to play? If you're from around these parts, tell me about any stories I missed in the comments. And if you're from the state, do you agree that this is the creepiest place around? If not, tell me what is, and I might do a part 2. Well, that's all I have for now. Make sure to let me know what you think about this video in the comments. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.